You have a fantastic political career and spectacular journey to the White House, but at the same time, there were difficulties that you and your family had to go through. For example,
Yes.
First Lady Michelle Obama, she said she had such a difficult time because she had to take all the parenting responsibility for 2 kids while you were running in the election. You said it in your book, but she also mentioned that very vividly in her own book, Becoming.
In her book, yeah.
You're right. So I'd like to ask you, how could you manage and balance the job as the President of the United States and as the father and husband?
Well, I think it was actually harder for both me and my family when I was running for president. Because, as you're aware, the United States election process is very long. Most countries don't have 2 years in which you are out there raising money and making speeches and shaking hands and appearing across all 50 states. So I was away from home a lot during the campaign. Michelle had very little support, and it was hard for me because I missed my family and I missed my children who were still very young, but it was much harder for her. And some of the burdens that she dealt with were burdens that I think so many women, professional women, have to juggle. We've made progress in the United States in opening up opportunities for women. That's true in Korea as well, but I think in both countries, we have to be honest that there's still great inequality in terms of expectations of who is caring for children, who's maintaining a household. I was very sympathetic to the fact that Michelle had to carry a larger portion of that burden, because she was still working while I was campaigning.
Right.
Once we got to the White House, interestingly, I think there was actually less pressure because, first of all, I wasn't traveling quite as much, actually. And if I did travel, I had this very big plane so I could get home. Unless I was traveling overseas, I usually could be home for dinner most of the time. Even though I was working all the time, because my office is right downstairs, I can come up and have dinner with the family, and then if I have to, I go back to the office. But I think the burden once we were in the White House was different, and that was Michelle feeling subject to scrutiny all the time. I think in a lot of other countries, the political spouse is not such high profile. In the United States, there are a lot of ceremonial duties and expectations for first ladies. Many of those are very traditional. The expectation is they will just be supportive of their husband, but not be as high profile in their own right. And Michelle's a very accomplished person who had a lot to contribute, and sometimes I think she was disturbed or frustrated by some of the negative coverage that was coming our way. But I think the most important thing, Doctor, for me to acknowledge is that I could have never done this without her. And part of why I wanted to write about these tensions is because I think it is not unusual today for two people in the marriage who are both busy and working, but they also love their children and want to make sure the children are getting the best that they can, and that's a balancing act that I think we all have to deal with all the time, whether you're a journalist or a doctor or a president of the United States.
영부인의 인기도 어마어마했잖아요.
역대급이죠, 사실.
이 두 분이 만나게 된 게 소위 사내 연애. 변호사였대요. 변호사였던 미셸 오바마가 시카고의 한 로펌에서 일을 하고 있었는데 인턴 변호사로 이제 오바마 대통령이 온 거죠.
사수였죠, 사수. 원래 하버드 대학교 선배이기도 하고.
미셸이.
예. 근데 이제 미셸 오바마가 정말 대단한 여성이에요, 제가 보기에는. 본인이 학부는 프린스턴 대학교를 나왔어요. 사실 우리가 뭐 아이비리그 있지만 그 중에서도 프린스턴 같은 경우는 조금 뭔가 굉장히 좀
공부를 열심히 하는.
예, 굉장히 아주 소수 정예스러운
그렇죠.
그런 분위기가 좀 있잖아요.
법대 의대 없고.
원래는 잘 나갔어요. 돈도 많이 벌었어요, 오바마 대통령보다. 그래서 시카고 대학의 이제 병원에 부원장 뭐 이런 것도 하고 막 그랬었는데 이제 대통령 되면서 퍼스트 레이디로 들어가야 되니까 그만두고.
퇴임 후에 그 미셸 오바마의 인터뷰를 보면은 정말 힘들었다. 그래서 어쩔 때는 자기 남편인 버락 오바마를 창문으로 던져버리고 싶을 정도로 그런 독박유라든지 가사를 전담하는 거에 대해서 굉장히 힘들었다는 얘기를 하더라고요.